Listen, some of y'all is not going to believe this, but listen, the player can be saved. Yes, the player can be saved. He was like Joe. He said he don't want to be a player no more. This is what he is saying in this letter, y'all. This is a good letter, y'all. I think the player can be saved, honey. And people can sit up here and say that they ain't never seen it, honey, but I done seen it. I have seen the player be saved. It only takes that one. That one will change. I mean, he got to want to change too. But anyway, y'all, I hope you can't hear my stomach growling. But anyway, I got a good one for y'all today. So stay tuned. Hey y'all, it's Bernita Rochele, and welcome to my spoken word and conversations, y'all. Listen, I got a good one for y'all. Ooh, listen, it is a letter, and y'all, it is from a man, honey. It is from a man. He says he don't want to be a player no more. He said, I'm 37 years old. I have to give you some background. I have been known to be a player. I must admit, I did start having children early in life. I am not ashamed to say I have 10 children, and I take care of each and every last one of them. They are a blessing. I don't regret anything. This is what he's saying. He said, I am very active in each of their lives. I get along with all my children's mothers. I'm very secure in the bag. That's enough background information. I think I have found the one. He says, I think I have found the one I want to settle down with. It's something about her that I really like. She is like no one else that I have ever dated. She doesn't have children and she's never been married before. Oh, I forgot to tell you. This is what he said. He has been married before. He said, my question to you is, do you think she will accept me for who I am now? Honey, listen, this is just my opinion. If that is in her heart, she will do that. But she has to get to know you first, because that being someone that hasn't had children, I'm sure that will be a little bit overwhelmed. But your children, you didn't really say the ages, but if there are a good age, then you can kind of work with that. She can kind of work with that. But if you talking about some arm babies, I don't know. But I really do think that there could be a chance. I have seen it. Okay. I know people don't believe this type of stuff, but I have seen a player has many children, and that one person stood right there with him. You know, they had situations. I ain't saying nothing about no struggle love, but they did have some struggle love. But when it all boils down, he did end up being with her, and they lived happily ever after. They're still together, and they have, yes. Okay. I think they had 2 children, and then he may have had all these other children, but they lived happily ever after. People do have these stories. People can sit up here and be like, no, this doesn't happen. Da, da, da. Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. And if people would learn that everybody has not came up from what you came up from. So people have different situations that they have viewed, but people will get upset when you tell your side and what you've seen. Okay. And I'll be like, whatever. But anyway, I think you can get along. I think you guys can make it. I really do. It's just she has to see you, and you have to beat and change for real, for real. Okay. You cannot continue to be playing with people's hearts, but if you have sincerely changed, listen here, I have seen it. I think that people can make it. Everybody be trying to make this seem like this is some smooth thing. Now, the woman has to be in agreement with this, because some women may not be in agreement with it, but I think the player can turn himself around. If she plays her cards right, meaning don't give you any, she will be better off because she can really see you. And then you can kind of see if this was just an act that you were doing just to get another woman. Okay. She has to see that you are sincerely meaning what you say. So I do think that the player can turn himself around, and a lot of your people that already seen you, they may have some doubt. But sometimes that's when you have to start kind of like, okay, I'm not finna tell everybody my business because I don't want to hear that negative stuff. So sometimes you have to kind of like, I ain't saying just cut them off, but sometimes you just got to stop sharing your information. If you want this type of situation to work, and I don't know what your last kid age is, but as long as they ain't no arm babies and you and the babies' mothers have ground rules that you guys follow by and ain't no shakiness going on, I believe that the player can recover. I believe it. I've seen it. I have seen it. You can do it. I believe you can do it. You just have to, you guys got to get to know each other sincerely. Okay. And I only talk about, remember what I talk about over here, real life experiences, relationships for the mature, conversations that need to be had, enlightening conscious awareness and breaking generational curses. So yes, the player can, and he will. I have seen it. I have seen it. Now, like I said, they may have been with a little struggle, but they did make it. And so that's what I say. I believe that you can do it. You have to be sincere and you still can't be dipping in other ponds. Okay. The wine cannot be dipping in other ponds, but yes, sir. Yeah, I think you can make it. Look, I am down for relationships. Now I ain't talking about no I don't know and I think struggle love, when people talk about struggle love, because I have doubted struggle love too, okay? But are we talking about like maybe when you were young and you guys went through the mud together. Y'all didn't have no money. Y'all didn't have nothing, but then y'all built and y'all built and y'all built. Now that is struggle love. Now I think the other struggle love is when they're talking about he just did her dirty. That ain't the one I'm talking about, okay? I'm talking about the one where she and he were there when you didn't have anything and you guys built and you guys built and you guys built together. So there is a difference between the struggle loves, okay? Struggle, y'all had to eat some peanut butter and jelly and some Roman noodles. And then talking about this one, which I ain't dealing with here, is where you had to go through all this pain. You had to go through all this pain. And no, that's not the one I'm talking about. I'm talking about the one where you guys made it together and you made it work. Okay. Maybe you went out of town, you left your hometown and you wanted to, go somewhere and you wanted to see if you guys can make it on your own. That right there, I believe that kind of love, because you saw each other from the dirt and then you started from the bottom. Now you're here. I just wanted to say that, but yes, sir. I believe you can, despite of what anyone else has said. I believe that you can. Keep the negative people out of your ear. Keep them out. Keep all the negative stuff out. Like I say, check in, check out. That's my motto. Listen to some people, don't listen to some people. Okay. But you know when to throw it out. Like I have certain channels that I listen to. I listen to them, but when I see that they going left, I can't do that. because you bringing me down now. So I just threw that up in there to give you an example. But that's the same with friendships. If your friendships are not giving you what you need, meaning you're positive, but being real, okay? Because there's a difference there too, because you need to have somebody that's going to be around you to be real. You got to. You have to have somebody that's going to tell you the truth, okay? And what I'm saying to you is this is just my opinion, but you have to figure it out. But as far as having those people around you telling you that no, you still a player, you gonna do this, you gonna always be a player, because they putting it in your soul, they're putting in the atmosphere, okay? She can, if you be honest. My thing is this: as long as you guys can be naked together, meaning let it all out, I believe you really can make it, okay? But listen, thank you so much for that letter. Look, Bernita Rochele at yahoo.com. You guys can email me anytime if you have a letter that you want to share. I definitely appreciate you sharing that with us and wanting me to give you that information. Okay. So thank you so much. I appreciate you. Okay. Listen, y'all, but that's enough. That's enough of that. But thank you to my new ones, and thank you to my day ones. Y'all been riding with a girl, and I am so grateful. Well, that's it. That's all for me today, y'all. Thank you so much for watching. Peace. Hey, y'all, it's Bernita Rochele, and welcome to my spoken word and conversations. Hey y'all, it's Bernita Rochele, and welcome to my spoken word and conversation